Hey buddy, Trip Free Training here, and I finally figured out at least the first day's theme that I'm going to do, and I'm going to call it a Make Ready Monday. So what I'm going to do is try to share with you all the things that I wish I knew or have learned over time that I wish I knew earlier on. And so the first thing that we're going to talk about is a go bag, ready bag, whatever you want to call it. It's a literal bag. I have always started this conversation off with new guys or guys that have asked this question: what is the number one most important thing to ever go in a bag that goes with you? Toilet paper and water. Period, the end. That is self-explanatory, okay? Single ply will get you by, but if you got the money and you got some toilet paper stash because it's 2020, get you some good stuff and bag it. Make sure that you keep it nice and dry. When you're making that big money, get you some butt wipes to go with it. Why not? Okay? So talking about a go bag or a ready bag, I've seen guys use these big old school coolers before. I've also seen them use these guys, the harness bags. This one's an S-Tex bag. Look, if you can get it from the storeroom and the company's going to pay for it, you might as well go ahead and snag you one and fill it up with the stuff you're going to need. What's going to go in there, first and foremost, outside of toilet paper, because you're always going to want to have water on your truck, so you're going to want to have a change of clothes. There's 1,000,001 reasons why you're going to need to change your clothes when you're a utility electrician. You're going to get rained on, and you're going to have to keep working. You're going to get oiled on. You're going to fall in the mud if you're walking a right-of-way or a line crew. You're going to wind up trucking through some just nasty funk, and you're not going to want to get back in your truck and have to smell yourself for the next 2, 3, 4 hours for the trip back. So have a change of clothes. No less than 2 pairs of socks, guys. You got to have it, because if your shoes get wet and you change your socks out, your socks are going to get wet. You want to be able to change them out again. Pants, definitely 1 or 2 pairs of undies. You got to have it. Always have at least a short sleeve shirt, and preferably like a base layer long sleeve. Have a couple of them. You don't necessarily have to have a big button down, but it is kind of universal. The only thing that can kind of happen is if you're keeping t-shirts and the long sleeve that's not rated for switching, you're going to kind of hinder yourself, but you got to make up your mind. But whatever you do, whatever you pack, make sure that you put it in some kind of waterproof sack. Trash bags are cheap and easy. You don't have to go broke to put one of these together. So get your clothing in order. And then also the second thing that you're going to have to carry with you no matter what is your PPE. So have your sunglasses, have your clears. These came out of my truck. Where I keep them, they're actually pretty safe. They don't get scratched up. But if it's going to go in a bag and that bag's going to travel with you, leave these in the original plastic package. It keeps from scratching up your lenses real bad. Gloves. Now, I didn't tear apart my truck to do this video, but I have at least 1 spare pair of leather gloves. Here's the thing about the leather, guys. If you get rained on, these things are kind of useless after a while, especially if it's cold. But you got your regular pair that you wear to work every day. You got a pair of these. When your first ones get sopping wet, you throw them on the dash, you dry them out. You got something warm and dry for your hands. In the summertime, them getting rained on is just kind of inconvenient. But in the wintertime, I promise you, you do not want cold, wet hands. So you got your leather gloves. Go ahead and go to the storeroom and get some nitro gloves. If it's raining and you put the nitro gloves on your hand before you put them in your leather, boom, you're good to go. Speaking of that, you could do the same thing with your feet. If you go ahead and get you some plastic bags, stick them in your bag. You don't have to have waterproof boots. It's preferable, but if you get caught in a situation where you're going to be trucking through some water and your shoes are not waterproof, as long as it's not going to be like, up to your knees, it's kind of a waste if it is. Put this, take your nasty foot out of your boot, put this over your foot, tie it up, tuck it into your sock, put it back in your shoe, and you got, instantly waterproof, or at least not sopping wet, socky feet. Lighting. Let's talk about the lighting real quick, because you're not going to be working in the daytime in perfect weather when you need to get into this go bag. If your storeroom's got flashlights, get one to keep on the truck, and then try to find a way to put one in your bag. This is really inconvenient. I don't recommend this. You can keep this in your truck, but if you got a bag big enough to fit it, great. But whatever needs batteries, have those batteries. So the D-Light, I like that one. You can set it up. It's not as convenient as a headlamp, but your headlamp needs batteries. So listen, get the batteries and have the batteries, okay? Your approved voltage sensing device, your flashlights, your headlamps, that kind of thing. Anything that needs batteries, have them. Just do me a favor. Don't be that guy on the crew that goes and gets 2 handfuls of batteries at the same time and clears the storeroom out, because they're all going to go bad at the same time. So space it out, share some for everybody. Don't be that guy with 12 packs of AA sitting in his dash for 3 years, all going bad at the same time. Have them, okay? But have a reasonable amount, but have them with you. Kind of a pet peeve of mine, because that's happened more often than not. So you're going to be working. Now we need to talk about taking care of your body, okay? You already got your spare PPE that can go with you anywhere you go. You got your spare clothing in case something happens. You can change out. You can keep going. Now, don't get this giant canister, but in the summertime, have something to treat the heat rash, okay? The work is going to get done no matter what, but you might as well be comfortable and not sitting there just in utter misery every time you take a step, okay? 16, 17, 22 hours in the blazing heat with the pants just burning you to death, man, you're going to be absolutely miserable, and it's going to be a distraction. So take care of that. Side note, if you decide to carry something like this inside of your go bag, it needs to be in the actual container, labeled with your name on it. Check the rules and procedures for your utility about what you can and cannot bring. Oh. Keeping with the taking care of your body theme, guys, some things that I picked up over the years. Tooth pickers. Okay, these things are a godsend. If you ever get something stuck in your teeth and it hurts, you don't have to sit there and suffer needlessly. So have some of those. Insect sting relief. If the company provides you it, go get some and leave it in the bag. And come a year later, take it out, discreetly toss it, get another one. There's no reason to have expired stuff in your go bag, especially if the company's going to provide it. Linemen that go out there on the right-of-ways, patrolmen that go out in the right-of-way, line crews, surveyors, all these kind of guys. The exposure to poison ivy is probably not going to happen at a substation, but outside of the sub, definitely. So if you can, get you some pre and post exposure stuff. It's a lot easier to prevent it than it is to treat it. If you're like me and you wear glasses and or contacts, you better have a spare contact case, a spare set of glasses in a hard case, and something to clean your glasses. Now, I've been very fortunate. It's never happened to me, knock on wood. But if you require glasses and they get broken and you're out of the game, you're no longer a value added. You're actually a little bit of a liability. So plan ahead for something like that. Especially if it's super windy, guys, you need to take your contacts out, have a pair of glasses to change into, have what you need as if you were at home. Now, let's talk about some administrative stuff. You gotta have writing utensils. It's kind of a side note, I do not recommend gel pens at all. They don't work in a lot of different types of weather. I have a really hard time just getting them to work, period. So have a pen, help your PNC brothers out by having a red and green pencil. I love this guy. We'll talk about this in a second. Sharpie, 1,000,001 uses. A lot of guys like mechanical pencils. I don't actually prefer the number 2 pencil. I just didn't bring it. You can sharpen it however you need to. This little guy right here, not many people are aware of necessarily. This is called a grease pencil. This thing, it can be a little hard to find sometimes, but if you got it, hold on to it, especially if you got a box worth of them. The reason why these are so awesome is that it literally does not matter what the surface is, like if it's raining, or the weather conditions, if it's raining, snowing, sleeting, it doesn't matter. These things will write. You can write on a piece of equipment, you can write on a switching and tagging order, hold order form, it doesn't matter. These things on your equipment hold tags, on your danger tags, this stuff, it doesn't fade. It doesn't wash away. It doesn't matter if it's been sitting out there for 3 months or 3 years. If you use the grease pencil, it's going to stay there. So I highly recommend getting a hold of one of these. It can be washed off. It's not a big deal. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get it off your danger tag, but it can be done if you got a big enough eraser. Okay, now I make plenty of mistakes. If I would, hold the thing the right side up so you could read it, you could tell. Obviously, I make mistakes. So Get you an eraser. Also on the admin side, switching and tagging orders, hold order forms, and attention tags. We have a ton of these in your storeroom. So grab one of each, stick it in a bag if you want to keep it from getting nasty. But if you have this, even if you're not qualified to switch, somebody around you is. And it's, holy crap, that was dangerous. It's gonna be a real big help if you've actually got those with you. You're gonna find yourself in a situation where there's none in the house, none in the truck. It's not your truck. This is not your crew. You're helping out, whatever. Just use your imagination. Notepad, 1,000,001 different uses for that. Now, lighting. Get it. Have plenty of it. Having one is like having none. So 2 is one is none. It's kind of an old adage, but it really is the truth. Have multiple different types of lighting, especially guys, we're in the utility industry. We get all kinds of little freebies, the GP tools. This is one from ABB. You put the little multi-tool in the end of it, but it's got a line on it. Okay, it comes in super handy to be able to see what you're doing. I don't know anybody that carries knives that hasn't lost a knife. Okay, whether it's temporarily or permanently. I've lost more than I can count. I really recommend that you have a folding pocket knife that locks into place, okay? Now, you're going to have to make sure, if you're with a different utility than I am, what your rules and procedures are for what kind of knives you can and cannot have, but at least a medium-sized folding pocket knife is going to come in super, super handy, and you're going to want to have one tucked away in the bag. Don't make it a habit of getting into your bag and getting stuff just because you forgot it that day. If you forgot your knife, deal with it. Put that up. Things that I have found endless uses for: Teflon tape and electrical tape. Teflon tape is going to come in really, really handy if you're someplace that you hadn't been before and you're trying to hunt down a leak. You're trying to fix it, make your connection, you find the problem, you got it right there. Now let's talk about feeding the machine. You're not going to run on hopes and dreams, and the longer you have to work or the more irregular your work hours are going to be, that's where this bag is really going to come in handy. So let me start you with what you never want to put in a bag. Fruit snacks. They will turn hard as a rock and they'll try to break your teeth. You won't be able to eat them. Breakfast bars, snacky bars, you know, which one is this? This is a fruit and grain soft baked bar. This will not last. It will get crushed, it will get melted, it will freeze. It'll do you no good. Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, put anything with chocolate in your go bag. Whether it's in the cab of your truck or if it's in a tool bin, these melt, they go bad. These cheap packages break, and then it makes a terrible mess. Ask me how I know. What I highly recommend that you guys carry with you in your go bag is things that cannot get crushed, things that do not leak. So if you get a chance, because I've had to work storms where the lights were out but people were willing to do business, if you got cash, is to have some cash with you. Not a ton, you know, $20, whatever, but you definitely want to carry small denominations, singles and fives. Here's a little word to the wise. If you go into a store because you need to get something, lights are out, they're taking cash, they're probably going to round up on you, no big deal. If it costs $3, drop a 5, tell them thanks, have a great day, and roll out of there. Don't argue with people, especially when their lights are out. But have some cash, have it in the bag, Ziploc it, keep it from getting nasty, because that's going to come in real handy. The instant, what do they call this? This is a great value, maple and brown sugar instant oatmeal. I like this. Even if you don't have a way to heat up the water, even if you don't have like a cup and a container, you can tear this open, you can pour water in it, you can let it soak, or you can stick it in a water bottle, worst case scenario. But if you've got this coffee cup, and you got access to a microwave, you're going to be golden. This is going to help tide you over, and it's going to give you the fuel to keep you going. If you get a chance to swing by GNC, ask them for some samples and get you some protein powder. This works out actually really, really well. It has a tendency to tide you over, but also it's pretty filling, and it can kind of help fuel you on. If you want to carry a big canister, that's fine. It's just going to be harder to carry. So if you can buy them in packages like this and stick it in your bag, or if you can, even better, if you can get free samples, stick it in your bag and don't worry about it. They do have an expiration date, but you know, if you go through your bag once a year and toss the stuff out and get new stuff, you should be good to go. If you got a shaker bottle, this is great. Try to experiment and find stuff that mixes well with water, because you're not always going to have access to, you know, your shaker bottle, things like that. Last but not least, an old pair of work boots that are still safe to wear at work, but are not necessarily comfortable, you're going to want to have. Now, these are actually my everyday boots. I've got a backup pair of boots that are slip-ons, that are waterproof. They're not the most comfortable things anymore, but they definitely will get me by. And while I'm talking about shoes, guys, whether it's going into your go bag or whether it's the ones that you wear every day, when you buy footwear, go buy quality footwear. I don't care if you're 21, okay? By the time you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, taking care of your feet is going to be a huge priority. So start early. But when you get your brand new shoes, go ahead and buy another pair of insoles to go with the shoes. So here's the tech tip that I picked up from the Red Wing shoe store. At the end of the day when you come home, take your nasty stinky foot out of your work shoe, take your insoles out, set them off to the side. You're letting these guys air out over 24 hours. You're also letting them decompress and get the cushion back. You're also airing out your shoe a whole lot better because the moisture catching material is out of the shoe. Air can get in there. You're going to reduce the likelihood of athlete's foot probably. You're definitely going to extend the life of your boot. And then when it comes time to get ready, next thing in the morning after these have had a chance to air out, grab your other pair of insoles, grab them, stick them in the shoe, go out and rock and roll. In the summertime, guys, carrying them with you is also going to be a big thing. Carrying an extra pair of socks to actually change out is really going to take care of your feet, and it's going to help you feel more comfortable longer throughout the day so that you can work better and just feel better when you're at work. So there it is, guys, the Go Bag, the Make Ready Bag, the Make Ready Monday segment. I hope you guys learned something. If you have something to share, something you felt like I missed, something that you learned that you like to keep in your bag, let's put it in the comment section. Keep it polite and professional, guys. And if you learned something from this, or if you just liked the video, please share it on your Facebook, your Instagram, the pages. The idea is to spread this information out to more and more people who are either new to the utilities or thinking about getting into utilities, or for the guys that are already there that just want to pick up tips and tricks, not ticks, tips and tricks, and to just learn things. I'm going to try to stick with a theme for the days of the week, hopefully Monday through Friday, and just kind of keep it moving that way. I'm not necessarily going to guarantee that I'm going to do like a video a day or anything like that, but I'm going to try to cover all the topics from theory, hands-on, troubleshooting, tools, tips and tricks, interviewing people that have been in this industry, and the things that they've learned and things that they would have wanted to know when they hired on or when they were younger. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I really appreciate your time. You guys have a great day. Be safe.